Issue 4, compassion centers or drug dens?
It helps my nervous system to calm down so that I can do basic things like that.
The lady is from Rhode Island, and she's talking about the medical relief she gets from marijuana. The question is, where did she get the marijuana? Rhode Island this week became only the 3rd state to legalize the sale of marijuana for medical usage. Like New Mexico and California, Rhode Island will now have licensed marijuana sellers or quote-unquote compassion centers. State lawmakers overrode the veto of the Republican Governor Donald Carcieri, who said, quote, the increased availability along with a complacent attitude will no doubt result in increased usage and will negatively impact the children of Rhode Island, unquote. The bill's sponsor, a cancer survivor himself, Democratic State Representative Tom Slater, weighed in on his victory.
Who knows, next time you talk to me, I may be smoking a marijuana cigarette.
Question, if there is a national health care reform bill, should it include the federal legalization of marijuana for medical usage? I ask you, let's say, Rich.
No, it shouldn't. I prefer a state-by-state approach. I support what's going on in states like Rhode Island. I think it is, in places like California especially, kind of a backdoor decriminalization, which I think makes most sense. If you're going to address this from a public health perspective, you would end the marijuana prohibition and crack down further on cigarettes, and that's basically what's happening.
Clarence.
Well, it really is becoming not even a backdoor end of prohibitions, virtually front door. Supreme Court recently said even San Diego County and another county out in California that didn't want to go along with allowing drug clinics to open, marijuana clinics, has to go along with the state law. And this is the kind of thing that I think will show, state by state, where every state where there's been a referendum, legalization for medicinal marijuana has won. And it's something that is becoming more and more accepted. A lot of it's generational.
Obama ought to get behind the legalization of marijuana for medical usage, in as much as it might drive down health costs?
I don't think so, and I don't think he wants to pick that fight. There are so many other fights involved with health care reform. It's such a huge, sprawling, complex thing that this is the last thing that President Obama needs, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of congressional Democrats going for it either.
Who could dare to take this on is Governor Schwarzenegger in California, and he's kind of broached it, but even he understands there's so much political apparel. But he
has suggested taxing the marijuana, legalizing it and taxing it.
And it makes so much sense, and it would also take a lot of the criminal element out if you legalized it with the marijuana that's coming across the border from Mexico. And why shouldn't the California farmers make some money? It's a great crop. So, but we're not there yet. We will be there at some point.
It sounds like a representative from the marijuana bureau.
Sounds like an ad,
Your magazine was founded and edited beautifully by William F. Buckley. He favored the legalization of medical marijuana, did he not?
Yes, he did. Well, he went even further. He favored the legalization of drugs entirely. But medical marijuana, I have a dear colleague in my staff, Rick Brookhiser, who had cancer and said the only thing that would relieve the nausea was marijuana. So this does have a legitimate medical use for some folks.
Has the magazine taken a position on it?
Yes, we favor decriminalization of marijuana.
You do?
Yes, sir.
What about Walter Cronkite? Doesn't he favor it too?
That I don't know.
I believe he does. What about George Shultz, the former Secretary of State?
I think he does too. Yeah. Maybe this is the one issue where Democrats and Republicans can agree, but it still isn't going to happen because there's too much emotion on both sides.
How about Milton Friedman, the exalted economist? He favors the decriminalization and the legalization of medical marijuana, does he not?
He did.
Yes, but he's not a voting member of the Senate.
Well, we're not everybody, but a lot of it's generational, John. Us boomers are coming along who kind of normalize marijuana back in the 60s.
The Drug Policy Alliance is probably flowered with another array of prominent people, correct?
Yeah, there are a lot of prominent names out there supporting this. I think really the question is how do you stop marijuana just simply being used for medical purposes and not flowing into other areas, because it is widely considered a gateway drug.
Do you think that marijuana has
and not keep it from spreading?
That's kind of like saying how do you stop kids from drinking beer and wine? You don't, but it's still against the law.
But I think that's a legitimate question, which is why it's coming up in the states.
And that's why it's better to control it by legalizing and regulating and taxing it than than by letting the underground do all of it.
Regulate it and you make it very expensive.
You got it.
That's the answer.
Michael Steele is chairman of the Republican Party. Will he hold that post 1 year from November?
No, he will not.
Eleanor.
Depends on the results of the November elections.
November. Oh, really?
Yes.
He will be. He will be in the post? What do you say?
I don't think so.
He'll be out?
Yeah.
I'm going to say he is, just to...
I'm going to say he will be. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Bye-bye.